Okay, he's Final Fantasy, he's Tails. Okay, we will start this off with Final Fantasy. You go. Now.
So, Final Fantasy. Everybody, I mean, who here does not love Square Enix, Squaresoft? Alright.
Squaresoft?
Squaresoft, there we go. Alright, you see, the thing about Final Fantasy is that when you first power on your console, you are literally going into a different world with every game. I mean, even with the first one, when it started out with just 8-bit graphics, I mean, you were a fighter, you were a mage, you were a white mage, you could do pretty much whatever you want. Yeah, red mage. Yes, red mage. Red mage is awesome. Okay.
8-bit theater.
Woo! 8-bit theater. Yes, you know, Final Fantasy. You know, Final Fantasy has some of the best fan bases that you can ever have. And, I mean, you know what? The best music too. I can go onto any forum. And I can just to stir things up. I can just go in there and say, Final Fantasy 7 is the best one out there. And then I can just watch them go at it. But you know what? The thing is that with every different one, you know, they just don't follow like a certain story, and you don't get bored. With every one, it's a brand new experience, new characters, new stories, new subplots, new everything. You know, I can go on for ages.
You've only got 3 minutes.
Yeah. Unfortunately, yes.
Maybe like 1 minute now.
Yes.
What about the fact that it's mostly just an interactive movie?
Yes. Well, that may be true. Actually, you know, 10 started that. I mean, I will gladly strike down 10. But you know,
what's wrong with 10?
I like 10.
Yeah. Yes, 10 was good in part,
but
you know what?
Side game.
What happened to 8 and 9? Yeah. What happened to 8 and 9?
8 and 9.
They fell off the edge of the earth because
I will admit I have not played 9 yet. I have not played 9 yet.
Time's up. Your turn.
Okay, my opponent made some pretty good points there, but you know what? When you turn on a Tails game, boom! You're not just sucked into another world. You actually start to believe that the characters are real. There's a lot of character development, there's a lot of subplots, and there's a lot of basically, well, it's like everything that Final Fantasy is, except that you have set characters that you need to build up. And once you build them up, you can change the story however you want to instead of a set storyline. You do it like 81 times over. Boom, like that. And each one of them is a different story set in a different place, except for the spin-off Dawn of the New World, which is obviously a sequel. However, seeing the return of some old favorites, like in Final Fantasy VII, is good, but it doesn't drag on so much. It only has 2 discs instead of 7 discs. You don't need to like play it through hours and hours and then have your brain like melt into like mush, just because and then you think that you have magical powers and a huge key plate or whatever like that.
Your brain melts so much, you're drinking too much beer while you're playing.
It's like Tails is like a smaller version of it, which is actually stepping in the giant footprint of Final Fantasy. And it has been ignored for too long. We need to actually pay some attention to it. It got like, what? It should get a Hall of Famer in Nintendo because it actually went gold. It should have gotten Best Game of the Year, but people had a bad impression because they like Mario and Samus stuff.
Mario!
Even and Lloyd Irving, the Symphonia star, should have gotten a place in Ball. Even lots of people say he deserved it, but they didn't want to go through the legal process because they thought it sucked, which really sucks because he would have been the best character out there. I mean, who doesn't want to use twin katanas like Musashi did back in the day?
Time. Okay, it is time to vote. Who votes for Final Fantasy? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15.
This one.
El, the Pikachu.
Who votes Tails? Okay, because the Tails, I'll give you 2 votes because Tails, because as much as I like the Final Fantasy saga, Tails games are underappreciated.
Yes. They are.
Okay, so another Tails vote. All right, you rock.
Play Tales of Symphonia.
Yeah, I love that game.
Tales of Symphonia was a very good game.
Oh yeah.
I will admit I'm a huge Final Fantasy fan.
Okay, the votes go to Final Fantasy.